Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Rose and today's video is going to be all about building a strong classroom community. Now, if you are a new teacher or if you've been a teacher for a while and you just need to brush up on some tips and tricks, this video is definitely for you. I think one of the biggest things when it comes to the classroom environment is creating a strong and welcoming community. And oftentimes, I don't think we necessarily really know what that looks like until you're actually in the classroom. The books will give you some advice and your professors might make you role play, but the truth is, how do you really know what to do unless you've actually experienced it? I have been a teacher for the last 13 years, and I am just going to give you 3 simple tips on how to build your classroom community. Not overwhelming, 3 tips that you can implement in any point in time throughout the school year. If you're interested in more tips like this, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, that you like this video, and let's get into it, building a strong classroom community. Number 1, so you want to create a supportive classroom environment and you want students to have a sense of belonging. So one of the easiest ways to do this is, of course, with your rules and expectations. Rules and expectations are definitely connected to a strong classroom community because this is where you set the expectations for behavior. Rules are not just about don't touch this, don't do that, no cursing. This is where you really establish, hey, this is where I want every single person in this room to feel safe, and this is what safety looks like to me. What does safety look like to you? And put the ownership back on the students. They may say things like, no bullying, no cursing, no name calling. Whatever the case may be, you can write those things on a list and say, okay, so we do know what it looks like to have a community where everyone feels like they belong. This is the list that we're going to hold ourselves to, and this is the list that you created, not the list that I created and just spat out to you. This is the list that you have all agreed to as a classroom. Maybe narrow it down to 4 things. If the students come up with a list, you can even have them work on this in groups and then have each group share out, and then collectively as a class set up maybe 3 or 4 expectations when it comes to how you want students to interact with each other. It can be something as simple as positive words, encouraging each other. The students, especially if you're in middle school, because I teach predominantly middle school, they get awkward with things like this. They don't know what it's like to truly be nice to each other. They're used to just name calling. They're used to just making fun of each other. And so you may even see them be uncomfortable. Maybe they may even make jokes because they don't know what to do with this information. But it's important that you set the expectations and let them know, like, I'm not joking. I'm serious about this, and these are the expectations to create a sense of belonging in the classroom. Number 2, incorporate collective learning activities. It is so important that your students engage with each other. Now, I am a huge fan of independent work because we need to see what students can produce on their own. But there has to be opportunities for at least student-led discussions. You can have them read something independently, come up with their own discussion questions, which then they can engage in a discussion with each other. Create a document where they can keep track of the discussion, maybe where they respond with a positive response back to each other, but you have to create opportunities for engagement. Think, jot, pair, share. Give them something to think about. I usually set a timer, have them jot down their response, have them pair share with someone, and then share out loud. These are ways where all students' voices can be validated. Now, here's where you play an important role as the teacher. There are some students who will not feel confident in their own ideas. They won't feel confident in what they wrote down, and they may be timid to share. So this is where you can help build confidence. Oftentimes, I will kind of walk around the room, skim at the things that they wrote down or typed up, and I will read and affirm as I walk around. Hey, so and so, that's an excellent response. Oh, I didn't even think about it from that perspective. I love that. I want you to share that out loud. And then this way, not only are they building confidence within themselves, they get the validation from you. Now they get to confidently share with a partner. And then if it's crickets in the classroom and nobody wants to share out loud for the whole group one, you can call on that individual student. Hey, I actually read a really great response from Jonathan. Jonathan, why don't you share with the class what you wrote down? Create moments where they can interact with each other, where they can build on each other's ideas. In middle school, I find that they struggle more with this, obviously, than in high school. And so there's times where I'll even write something on the paper next to the question and say, this is the thinking question. This comes from your brain, not from the reading. So it forces them to really notice, okay, I'm coming up with this response on my own, and then I'm going to share what I think with a partner. Also have them collaborate on things with coming up with real life examples, constructing sentences together if you're doing vocabulary. Make assignments where they truly do feel like they have to rely on the other person to get something done. Final tip, maintain positive classroom culture. There are 3 ways that I personally like to do this. Number 1, make sure that you are implementing consequences fairly. Do not pick and choose which students you're going to teach a lesson to for the whole class to learn. Absolutely not. That is not going to create a strong community within your classroom. Students need to be able to trust you. They trust someone who they believe is fair, who they believe is rational, who is logical. And so if you have a consequence ladder, which if you don't, I highly recommend that you create one. And these are the steps. Hey, step 1, I address the whole class. Step 2, I address you individually. Step 3, we're gonna go outside for a conversation. Strictly just a conversation. You're not in trouble. I just need to find out what's going on. If there's no change in behavior, okay, now I'm going to have to call home. Maybe it's reflection center. Maybe it's lunch with me and we're talking about behavior. But make sure that students know what the order is for consequences so that they can also see, oh, she did that to me, but she also did that to them. She did that to them and she also did it to that person. It builds trust, and they also won't think that you're picking favorites or specifically picking on one particular student. Also, it holds you accountable. Now, if there's an issue, a conflict with a parent or even with administration, you can say, hey, this is the consequence ladder. This is what I follow with every single student. That way it keeps you out of trouble because you're not skipping steps. And if you do end up skipping a step, you can backtrack. You can go back to a student and say, you know what, before I call home, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to, adjust this behavior. Let's see tomorrow in class how you come in. I'm gonna hold off on calling home. So you that way can build a strong relationship and rapport with your students in a very fair and non-threatening way. Next thing I love to do is celebrating student achievement, whether it is something as simple as a response that was said that I thought was excellent, having students come up and write particular responses on the board. I also do, I've mentioned this before, I do a student of the week. I have a portion in the back of my classroom and I pick a new student every week that I want to just honor and celebrate, and they get a cute little pen as a prize. Putting up student work, of course. I cannot tell you how excited students get to see their work in the classroom. Even my 9th graders, they took out their phones and they were taking pictures because one of them had their travel brochure displayed in the classroom. And so this is a sense of pride where they get to see the things that they've created being put on display, putting stickers on their test or on the work that you give back. So many little things that you just think, it is what it is. It just does something, right? It creates that positive environment within the classroom. Is also just prioritizing positive interactions and conflict resolution, whether that be between 2 students or even you and a student. There has to be a way where you could mediate the situation without holding your weight over a student, but still maintaining the fact that you are the authority figure in the room. But there has to be ways where you continue to make sure that your classroom environment is safe. That is the one word that I think we have to remember, that it is safe, that students feel safe with each other, but that they also feel safe with you. And I think that way, if you really think of it with that particular mindset, then you will know that you're building a strong classroom community because everyone feels safe in the classroom. So that's it, you guys. I just wanted to give you 3 simple tips. Easy, they're quick, they don't require much planning, but they will make the world of a difference in your classroom. So again, if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, that you like this video, that you share my videos with other people. It really does help my channel grow, and I will see you all in the next one.